Many people love their dogs and cats. Actually, they become family members, so it's easy to understand how emotional it can be when they go missing or are lost. Our next guest says there are certain steps you should take to increase your odds of successfully finding your pet. Donna Velarde is an animal communicator and the owner of Zodia Pet, who has traveled all over the U.S. locating lost pets. Great to have you back with us.
Thank you for letting me be here.
All right, for those people who do not know what an animal communicator is, what exactly is it?
I hook up with the pet's thoughts. Through visualization. I ask them what's going on. They send me thoughts, and again, I'm picking up images from them. I'm picking up sometimes a scent, sometimes a color. So it's whatever I'm getting from them, and then I give them messages back. I send them visualizations as well.
And you also have the ability to do that with people?
Absolutely. It's just, telepathic communication.
It obviously is something you were born with.
Yes, we're all born with it. It's whether or not we choose to fine-tune it.
And when did you notice you had this ability?
From when I was a child, because my father always communicated with our pets. My mother was a very gifted psychic, and so I always knew that it was an okay thing to do.
And now you're using your special gift to help others.
Yes, to help locate lost pets. That's one of the things that I do as well.
You say there's actually a difference between a missing pet and a lost pet.
Yes.
So define.
Okay, a missing pet is the pet knows where they are, they're out on their adventure, and they know how to get home. It's whether or not when they choose to go home.
They will eventually come home?
They will eventually come home. And that's usually the first thing that I tell people when they call me saying that their pet has gone missing. And if they're missing, I tell them, just to keep the faith and keep the light on, and they'll find their way back home.
Do they eventually do?
Yes, they do.
They let you know?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
And now a lost pet is a pet who has just wandered away and truly does not know how to get back. They could be trapped in a garage or a basement, or just in an area where they're unfamiliar with and don't know how to make their way back.
So how did they get lost? Is it because they were too focused on something and just decided they didn't know where they were?
Yeah, sometimes they're going after a chase. It could be a squirrel, a rabbit, and then they're so focused in on the chase that they end up in an area that they don't know where they are. And also, if you take your pet to be boarded or even a groomer and they get away, they're in an unfamiliar area and they're not quite sure how to get back home.
And so how do you advise people to minimize that possibility of your pet going missing or going lost? How do you help them?
Well, the practical things are, always have a tag on your pet and microchipping.
That works actually, because it happened to me. I lost my dog and somebody picked up my dog and called the vet. The vet contacted me. Right.
Those are the practical ways of doing it. The other thing is always keep an open line of communication with your pet.
How do you do that?
It's difficult to do, especially when they're not around and they're either lost or missing. Many people, people will call me and they say, I'm calling my pet. Why aren't they responding? Because as you're calling them, you're not keeping that open line of communication. You're actually panicking, and that's one of the first things is not to panic.
I've done that. I'm frantic. I'm screaming for his name. I'm not sure where he is.
And the problem with that is because of your normal tone has changed, they think something's wrong. So they may not be so apt to come out from wherever they are if they do hear you.
So it's like a kid when they know the parent is upset about something, they're afraid they're going to get scolded.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. I never even thought about that.
Right, and not to panic, easier said than done.
Exactly.
Because we've all been in that boat where we can't find them.
Okay, so somebody can call you and just say, I need help.
Yes.
And you can do that over the phone?
Yes. What I need is a photo of your pet. That's helpful to help, link up, as I said, through telepathic communication, and to send a message to say, one, are you okay? The second is, do you know how to get back home? Where are you? And when I say, where are you, I'm asking for landmarks. I'm asking for a visual of where they are. And remember, we have to see life from their perspective, so they may not be so high off the ground as we are. So their perspective might be on a little lower basis there.
Can you share a story as how you helped somebody find their pet far away?
Yes. I actually got a call from a woman in Arizona, and her cat was missing. And what I did was I gave her a visual of, she sent me a photo of her cat. I gave her a visual of what I was getting. She disagreed on my visualization because I was visualizing goats in the area, and she told me that she had never seen a goat. I told her that her cat was within a mile radius of the home.
Wow.
And she called me, but I gave her other landmarks. She called me back about an hour later and asked if I could fly out there to help her locate her lost cat, because for the first time in her life since living in Arizona, she saw a goat farm. So I did go out there, and we did successfully get her cat back.
So you helped her find a cat, but we also talked earlier that you don't just help people who are missing a cat or a dog. There are other animals
There's
you
other
help
animals
to locate.
Absolutely. I once had a woman call me because her very large turtle went missing. And he just got camouflaged under brush, and she was able to find him and bring him back home.
Wow. All right, let's get back to the guidelines the tips you were giving us as to how to find your missing pet. And one of the things you also tell them is where they need to look.
Yes. The first thing you want to do, especially if it's a cat, you want to look in your house. That's the first place. Places where you never think that they would go. It could be under a chair. It could be behind a washing machine. It could be, those are just the practical things. And then because sometimes there's just no possible way that the pet could have gotten out. And when people think that, there are possible ways. You'd be amazed as to what they can fit through.
Okay. Also, you see a lot of people post flyers.
Yes.
When they have a missing pet. Does that work?
It does work because it just makes people aware that there is a missing pet out there. The only thing, though, is you have to be aware of that. People do want to help, and you could be missing a Chihuahua, and they might have seen a German Shepherd and call you. But you want to put it out there. You want to make people aware. And the other thing is, don't put a time limit on how long before you give up on your missing pet. Some people feel after a couple weeks or even a month, okay, I'm never going to get my pet back, because their concept of time is very different from our concept of time. The other thing is all these animal shelters with all these pets.
That could be where the pet is, right?
Exactly, and you want to call them, because a lot of these shelters have people's missing pets whose caregivers gave up on them far too soon. So you want to call the shelters. You want to go there, because you can call them and say, okay, I'm missing, a tan Chihuahua, and they'll say, okay, no, we don't have one here. They're so busy, they may not have time to look.
So you need to go.
Absolutely.
I've heard stories where missing pets come home after years of being missing.
Yes.
So
yes, that is true, and that's why you don't give up on them. And the other thing that you want to do is visualize them coming home. Visualize a route of them coming home. Keep an open mind. Let them know that you're still thinking of them.
Keep the faith, like you said.
Absolutely.
Okay, and of course you have a website. What is that?
Yes, it's zodiapet.com, ZODIAPET.com.
And that's how they can contact you.
Yes.
For any kind of help that they would need.
Absolutely.
It's great to have you with us, as
Thank
always.
you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Don't go away. There's more Connecticut Style right after this.